Hi, Honors Geometry. It's Mr. Larrabee. This is going to be a topic that we've already covered, but we are going to step back in a second to go over things that we left off on prior to spring break. And our next meeting, now we've been given the go-ahead for Zoom conferencing. We are going to Zoom again, and I have some more challenging questions that we're going to work through together. And hopefully also do a quizzes. So wait for that invite, which will come up on our second class meeting. I've already posted on our Google Classroom our calendar and also a syllabus so you guys can kind of know what's coming up and what we're planning on doing. So go there for some more information. So looking back at some vocabulary that we haven't had a lot of time to talk about. Some of the things we have mentioned, but I'm going to go over them again. So right here in our first diagram, we can see that here's some important terms that are going to come up over and over again, and I think we already know these, but just familiarize yourself with them. The difference between a tangent and a secant. Well, a secant is a line, not a segment, a line that intersects the circle in two spots. Okay, and the tangent is a line that intersects just in one spot. And then the diameter and a chord, well, they're the same thing. However, a diameter is a chord that is actually the longest chord in a circle. It goes through the center of the circle. And a minor arc versus a major arc. A minor arc has to be less than 180 degrees. A major arc has to be greater than 180 degrees. And if it's equal to 180 degrees, that's what we call a semicircle. This is probably not shocking information. Now, a minor arc versus a major arc, when we're naming them, this is important to talk about because if we were to say, for example, on this semicircle here, if I were to say arc EH, then I'm saying the shortest distance from E to H. So that arc is just going to be from E to H. It's just that arc. You can't go the other direction, which would be a longer route, E to H. Okay, we're talking about the shortest distance from 2 points. If I wanted to name the major arc, then I would have to include a third letter. So for example, I would go E, H, and then the one between E and H, the letter, would have to be on the path from E to H along this major arc. So you can choose J or G, it doesn't matter. It just gives you a point of reference. Okay, so the first one is going to be a minor arc, and the second one would be your major arc. Let's keep scrolling here. Okay, check, we got that question. Now I'm going to ask you to pause the video here in a second, and try this problem out for yourself. Okay, and then you can unpause it and you can see the answers. Now I'm not going to pause it right now because I'm going to actually work through it. But you can pause and answer 1 through 9 right now, and then we'll check our answers afterwards. So segment KG. This is going to be, where's KG? This is a chord. However, the best name for it is actually a diameter. The line FH, this would be a secant. KH is a segment, but it's not the longest one in the circle, so I'm going to call that a chord. Point E is a point tangency. BK would be a tangent. And it's a tangent to more than one circle. CF is also a tangent. Point A is the center of a circle. Also used as naming a circle. When you want to name a circle, you do the symbol of a circle, and then you put A to say that is the center of my circle. JG. JG is a radius, which is half of a diameter. And the longest chord in any circle always has to be the diameter. All right, now that you tried those, we have addressed these types of angles, but I'm going to go over it one more time. A central angle is any angle that has vertex comes from the center of the circle. So this has to be the center. And the measure of the angle always has to be the same as the measure of the arc. So for example, if this is a 30-degree angle, then the measure of the arc, and we would denote this as measure of arc, and let's just put some points on it, AB. Measure of arc AB is equal to 30 degrees. It's the same as the central angle. Now, an inscribed angle, perfect circle. All right, so let's say, here's my inscribed angle. Now, the vertex is on the circle. It's not coming from the center. Let's give that a letter for reference. That's A. We'll call this B, and we'll call this point C. Now, the relationship here, if you remember from before spring break, the measure of the arc BC is directly related to the measure of the inscribed angle. It's not the same though. If this were, let's say, 30 degrees, the measure of arc, its included arc is always double that value, so it'll be 60 degrees. And then an inscribed angle in quadrilaterals. So here's my circle, and put 4 points on the circle anywhere you want. And here's my quadrilateral. Now it looks like a trapezoid. It doesn't, I'm not trying to make a specific shape. It doesn't matter. But what's true is that if I say this angle right here is 100 degrees, well, what's true is that its included arc has to be twice that value. So I'm going to say that has to be now 200, which means the remaining arc that I did not highlight would have to altogether add up to 360. So 200 take away from 360, you would get 160. Well, this arc is the included arc for the opposite angle of 100. So for that, I know it has to be half of 160, so that would have to be 80 degrees. Any way you look at it, you see that opposite angles are always supplementary. And that's the major property that comes from this. But as long as you know inscribed angles, you'll be fine with that. Let's see if there's anything else here in my notes. So now what is going to be posted for you is this practice. And I also included in the posted assignment an answer key. So the first 2 pages will be the assignment. The second 2 pages, that will be the answer key. So go ahead and do those. And the next time we meet, I'll answer any questions you still have about these particular angles. And then we will also engage in not only Q&A, but some other problems. And I have some more challenging ones that'll be fun for us, and we'll hopefully lead our conversations. So hope all is well, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.